As a young nation, Philippines had many firsts. If you are going to take them into consideration, these firsts are like unpolished golds, treasures of extreme value. The joy of a nation standing up and showing its first baby steps can never be underestimated, just like the first time you watch a movie. For the most part, we are greatly in debt of the Americans for egging us upward and providing us right infrastructure for us to succeed. Truly, we may have not gotten to where we are now had the Americans left us in the lurch. We believe being one of the states of the USA would be a dream come true for many suffering Filipino. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a walk down into the memories lane where we see our first steps toward nationhood. Here are some of the best. Number 10. First Pinoy US Billboard Top 100 Chart Toppers. Yes, this group was able to land a spot on the most lucrative and most sought after hit list in the whole wild world, the US Billboard Top 100, giving the American a run for their money. Back in 1963, the Rockefellers snatched the 6th spot of the world-renowned Billboard Top 100 with their song Killer Joe. Not until Charis Pempenko hit the top 8 in the US chart did any Pinoy that matter got the spotlight again. The Rockefellers were made up of Doroteo Moro Maligmat and his 4 sons. The all-Filipino group may have conquered more American hearts with other big hits had not been swept aside one big super humongous wave in the British invasion, the Beatles. Number 9. First National Sweepstakes Draw. The first sweepstake was done in 1932, undertaking to bring needed cash for the Philippine Amateur Athletic Federation or PAAF. A resounding success, the government deployed more sweepstake draws in the benefit of the Philippine Tuberculosis Society. Number 8. First ice cream store in the Philippines. It did not take long for the Americans to introduce ice cream to the discerning palates of the Filipinos. The first ice cream parlor cum candy shop cum cafe was opened by American named M.A. Clark and was built in 1899 along Plaza Moraga on the south end of the iconic Pasig River. Somehow, the delicious mouth-watering pink ice cream that the joint served is a symbol of how American culture left the wonderful taste in the mouths of many Pinoys. A never-before-seen world opened right before the eyes of millions of Filipinos via American Dream. Number 7. First Pba Goal. The first ever shot made in most watched sports in the Philippines, PBA or Philippine Basketball Association, came from the famous Crispa team on April 9, 1975. With a total of 18,000 fans watching and roaring, Gregorio Joy Crispa became the first ever player to make the first shot in the PBA. Number 6. First elected Manila Mayor. Before democracy was in full swing, the seat of the highest power of the city of Manila was non-existent for true blue Pinoys. The only position our forefather can have during the Spanish era was as a cabeza de barangay, or the equivalent of barangay captain. The honor of being the first mayor elected via majority votes belonged to Arsenio Lacson, who in his term from 1952 to 1962 made Manila flourish so much it was dubbed as the start of Golden Age. His style of leadership was likened to the much-praised mayor of New York City, Fray Oriola Guardia. Number 5. First aircraft to fly. Planes were an amazing feat of science in the early days when horse carriages and horses were still the much-used transport. It's no surprise the first plane to be fly here in the Philippines was made possible by the Americans. The honor belongs to the pilot James Bud Mars, an American who flew the Shivers Skylark in the Philippines as part of the 1911 Manila Carnival celebration. The plane, which arrived from Hawaii, was designed by U.S. aviation pioneer Glenn Hammond Custis. An exact replica of the Skylark is put on display in the Philippine Aerospace Museum located at Villamor Air Base. Number 4. First asteroid named after a Filipino. for their exemplary accomplishment in the field of astronomy as signified by their book touching on Halley's Comet, became the first ever Filipino to have an asteroid named in their honor. Number 3. First on-screen kiss, Philippines. You may not able to talk yet as it was the era of silent movies. And the first ever in Philippine cinema belongs to half-blooded Phil-Am Elizabeth Dimples Cooper in the 1926 silent movie Ang Tatlong Hambog. Her on-screen partner, actor race car driver Luis Tuazon. Incidentally, kissing was considered sacrilegious then. Dimples, however, is most remembered as the beautiful rumored lover of one of the history's great military general, General Douglas MacArthur. Number 2. First ITA lawyer in the Philippines. There are many lawyers that have passed the glorious halls of the bar exams but none like this lawyer. Wida Cosme at the age of 26 became the country's first attorney at law who was a pure-blooded ITA, passing the bar exams in 2001. Her life story was depicted on GMA7 TV and she was portrayed by Julina Magdangal, who received much praise for the episode in Magpakailanman, earning commendation from 2003 Asian TV Awards. And number 1, first Philippine president to cross the Pacific. Today, traveled to other countries is not something to brag about, but in the older days, it was a reserve for an elite few. The first president to ever cross the Pacific is President Elpidio Quirino. He flew to the US via Pulse DC-6 on August 6, 1949. Technology seemed to be doing its first as their leader Quirino also became the first ever president to ever appear on TV.